Once upon a time, in a peaceful land surrounded by tall mountains and shining rivers, there lived three kind dwarfs named Borin, Lumi, and Taro. They lived in a cozy little cottage at the edge of a forest called Greenleaf Valley. The valley was famous for its sparkling flowers, singing birds, and golden sunlight that made everything look magical. Each dwarf had a special talent. Borin was the strongest. He could lift heavy stones and chop giant logs with ease. Lumi was the smartest. She loved reading old books and knew many secrets about plants and animals. Taro was the kindest. He could make anyone smile and always helped others, even when he was tired. Every day, the three dwarfs worked together. They gathered berries, planted vegetables, and helped travelers who got lost in the forest. The villagers loved them very much. One morning, the dwarfs woke up and noticed something strange. The birds were not singing, the flowers were drooping, and the river was flowing very slowly. "This is not normal," Lumi said, looking worried. "The valley is losing its magic." They walked to the village and met Grandma Willow, the oldest person in the land. She had lived there for more than 100 years and knew many stories. "My dear dwarfs," Grandma Willow said sadly, "the heart crystal, which keeps Greenleaf Valley alive, is fading. If it stops glowing, the valley will become dry and lifeless." "Where is the heart crystal?" asked Borin. "It is hidden deep inside the Whispering Mountain," Grandma Willow explained. "But only those who work together with kindness and courage can reach it." Taro smiled. "Then we must go and save it." The next morning, the three dwarfs packed food, water, and warm blankets. They promised the villagers they would return with good news. As they walked through the forest, they came across a deep river. The bridge was broken. "I can carry you," Borin said confidently. He lifted a big tree trunk and placed it across the river like a bridge. Lumi checked the trunk carefully. "Good job, Borin, but we must walk slowly so we don't fall." Taro held their hands and encouraged them. "We can do it together." They crossed safely, feeling proud of their teamwork. Next, they entered the forest of whispering trees. The trees were tall and dark, and the wind made strange sounds. Suddenly, they heard a soft cry. They found a little fox trapped under a fallen branch. "I'll lift it," Borin said, and tried to move the branch, but it was too heavy for him alone. Lumi thought for a moment. "Let's use a lever. If we place the stick under the branch, we can lift it easily." Taro gently talked to the fox to calm it down. "Don't worry, little friend. We will help you." Together, they lifted the branch and freed the fox. The fox wagged its tail happily. "Thank you," it said. "To reach Whispering Mountain, follow the path where the stars touch the trees." Soon they reached the Whispering Mountain. Inside the mountain was a dark cave called the Cave of Echoes. Every time they spoke, their voices echoed loudly. "Hello!" Taro shouted. "Hello, hello, hello," the cave repeated. As they walked deeper, they saw 3 doors with symbols: a hammer, a book, and a heart. A glowing sign appeared. "Choose the door that shows the greatest power." Borin pointed to the hammer. "Strength is the greatest power." Lumi pointed to the book. "Knowledge is the greatest power." Taro pointed to the heart. "Kindness is the greatest power." They argued for a moment. Then Lumi said, "Maybe the mountain wants us to work together." So they touched all 3 doors at the same time. The doors opened, and a bright path appeared. "Look," Borin said. "It worked." They learned that strength, knowledge, and kindness together are the greatest power. Deep inside the mountain, they found the heart crystal. It was beautiful, but dim. In front of it stood a giant stone guardian. "Who dares to enter?" the guardian asked in a booming voice. "We are the Three Dwarfs," Lumi said bravely. "We came to save Greenleaf Valley." The guardian said, "To restore the crystal, you must pass 3 tests: courage, wisdom, and kindness." The guardian created a narrow bridge over a deep, dark pit. "You must cross without fear," it said. Born was afraid of heights, but he took a deep breath. "I will go first to show courage." He walked slowly, thinking of his friends in the valley. When he reached the other side, he smiled proudly. "You have shown courage," the guardian said. The guardian asked Lumi a riddle. "What grows when shared, but shrinks when kept?" Lumi thought carefully. "Love and knowledge grow when shared, but shrink when kept to oneself." The guardian nodded. "You are wise." For the final test, the guardian showed Taro a hungry little bird. "You have only 1 piece of bread left. What will you do?" the guardian asked. Taro smiled and gave the bread to the bird. "Kindness is more important than my hunger." The bird chirped happily, and the guardian smiled. The guardian stepped aside. "You have passed all tests. Touch the crystal together." The 3 dwarfs held hands and touched the heart crystal. It began to glow brighter and brighter. Light spread through the mountain and across the valley. The river flowed again, flowers bloomed, and birds sang happily. When the dwarfs returned to the village, everyone cheered. "You saved Greenleaf Valley," the villagers shouted. Grandma Willow hugged them. "You showed courage, wisdom, and kindness. That is true heroism." The dwarfs felt happy and proud, not because they were heroes, but because they worked together and helped others. True strength comes from teamwork, kindness, and wisdom. When we help each other and use our talents together, we can solve any problem.